Hello everybody, you're watching Hard Rock Nation. Today is a skills day. This right here is, I think I just did the
You need
ground. Help? No, I'm good, Dad. I'm making a video about it, so you'll get to see it later.
You're doing it?
I'm making a video, Dad.
That's my boy. Yeah.
I'm gonna
The
test
new
it.
luthier in town.
Yeah.
With a badge on.
Yeah. So, this is our first time here, as you could hear from Daddy-O. This is soldering iron, and it's scorching hot here. This is the setup. Get you right down here so you can see. So I got this thing right here. I don't know if you can see, but I got this thing is holding the solder wire. And then this hand over here on that side, I believe, right here, is holding the output jack. And I think it is the best way. And this thing right here, really sharp needle nose pliers. And we got this going right into, you gotta melt that, putting your thing on it. And as it's wet, it smells very funny, guys. I found that it's actually easier to put it on top. So you take your little bit of solder right here, put some on the top. First of all, let's get our solder wire a little bit closer. It's like a TIG. It's literally welding for electronics. Sorry guys, if I'm a noob here, this is the first time I've ever done any of this. I found out that doing it yourself is a little bit cheaper. So to save $1, we're doing it this way. Look how dangerously close you got to get to the guitar. I don't like that. I dislike that, man. Y'all guys got any pointers as a newbie? Tell me about it in the comments, man. So you use your sponge over here to wipe your tip of your solder station. Put your thing on your. It is so hard to do, guys. It really is. You gotta get a bunch of solder on the output jack's plate. And do not touch anywhere near where the soldering iron is doing its job. Nowhere near. Because even being somewhat close, I can actually feel the heat of the soldering iron. Alright, now that you got your glob of solder here, you put your wire on top. You're supposed to try to like weld it in the glob. It's barely hanging on there, guys. So, got this here. This is where you put. Always use this thing. This thing, don't be stupid and put your finger anywhere near it. Because you will pay the price. This is a Schecter Diamond series that we're doing this to. what you do is you wipe your solder iron on it to kind of clean it up a little bit. Will not be the cleanest job, because this is my first time, guys. Okay, this is my first time ever, and I got to solder pickups. Yeah, it's gonna be hard to do, guys. First time ever. Whoa. So, I don't know if you can see it, but right down there is my solder situation. It looks pretty ugly, but that's the first time ever doing it. Professional would be like, it looks so perfect. But so I think what we're going to do is we're going to put the soldering iron away, and let me kind of show you what. This is the soldering station. So right here is all the tools that I'm using. That's my tool bag. But that's the kind of soldering station it was. Came with helping hands, which is why I bought it. And I never would have thought that I would have needed helping hands so much. But this right here, do you want to know what the sponge is for? The sponge, its face is literally designed for you rubbing the solder. I don't know if you can see it, but see how the tip of the solder gun is, you know, coated? That's the whole idea. Now here's a close-up of the job I did. It's not as easy as I thought it was going to be. It's way harder than I thought it was going to be. Way harder. Like, so you can barely see it over here, so that's all that matters. So what we're going to do, I don't like the way it looks, so we're starting from scratch. That's why I got plenty of solder. So what you're going to do is start from scratch here. Alright, so that's that. Put that in there. Now this one right here on this side actually turned out pretty good. Which I'm actually going to keep this one like this. It melts the solder wire super quickly. So, that is what I believe is known as the hot, connected to the output jack. Maybe fix our here. So that's that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take our tip here, and this, see that horrible one right there? That's the one that needs repair. So what you're going to do is you're going to wipe your tip all around it and evenly coat that in solder. So we'll move our thing here. See, you run out of TIG pretty quickly. Seeing you turn your helping hand around a little bit so you can get to that. I'm not going to pretend I know what I'm doing because I don't. But just for example here, this solder joint looks like garbage, but now that I have the station, I can actually fix it once I get better at doing it. Alright, so we got that nice and clean. You know, I think it's the tip. That tip, no wonder they recommend the flat one, the flat angled one. So much easier to... Hopefully I get a few subscribers on this. That'd be nice. Y'all guys help me out, like it down below if you're enjoying the video, because this, I'm fumbling here. But it's what it takes, man, to be an expert at stuff. You gotta fumble around. Man, I'm really testing my solder joint by yanking on it. Alright. I've used about 3 inches of solder already. So, we're working here. I was thinking about a guitar that's been soldered 1,000 times. You run out of solder. You run out of the ability to solder it. Because you literally just... Can I be a professional or what? Come on. Let's get this done. Gotta wet your solder. Ah, see? Not bad. So this helping hand, we need to put the wire over here. This helping hand, this cord for it is a pain in my existence, but you gotta have the cord to be able to solder it. Alright, so we got the output jack connected to it. Okay, that's a start. That's a start, man. But I only got like 1 inch of cord, 1 inch of wire. So it's very... These little rubber things on the end of it. There you go. Little shark bite here. You gotta act like you have 3 hands here. Alright, so we got that on there pretty darn good. Okay. So the solder wire here. Let's get the solder where it should go. And so that we don't have a failed joint here, I'm just going to put a little bit more solder on it. Got to be really darn careful where you put your hand at, because the iron will sneak up on you. Gotta practically be on the guitar almost ready to do it. I dislike that heavy. You don't understand how much I dislike that. There you go. And now that we got the jack soldered on, we're going to take our vice grip here. Take this vice grip. We're going to tighten that up. The solder wire is very easy to manipulate. Can be a disadvantage. So this right here, let's tighten this up. So let's put these little rubbers on the ends of this again. Alright, then there's that here, and that there. Oh my goodness, Dad, I'm videoing here. Come on. It's going to be very difficult to do what I'm trying to do here. It becomes quite hard. There you go. It wasn't me. It was the green-eyed man. Yeah. Alright, so now what we're going to do is going to take our super sharp needle nose pliers here. We're going to flatten. Sorry about the bad camera angle, guys, but it's what I got to be able to work on here. I got to get this on video and post it because it's a special moment. It's my first time ever. I mean ever working on anything this intense, guitar related stuff. And this is pretty intense for a newbie. So to make it look good, you have to try to brush up against it. See, I'm trying to make it look better. There's a can't zoom in or out in this mode. You idiot. Let me put y'all back here. Let me get y'all a close-up. So I gotta put you in this area here. It's taking me 21 minutes to do an output jack. You gotta be kidding. Kind of get you a better. See how I'm trying to like. There you go, that's how you do it, that's how you do it. As if I've done it for years. Alright, so. Here's if it'll focus. There's that side of it. That's the hot wire to the long one. There's the regular wire to that. So I'm hoping that I had it at 660 degrees and used up a good amount of solder. They pretty much call that silver solder, but this is for my Schecter Diamond Series here. And right here at the output jack is where all this was happening. So hopefully I did this correctly. And now to clean up my mess of solder, these little balls of solder everywhere. Have to be super careful with the finish on the guitar. Y'all guys can't see nothing here. Hold on a second. There you go. What? Hold all the way back in there. We're practically up against the guitar, man. I dislike that about the soldering. Makes you want to damage the guitar almost. All right. There you go. You gotta stick it to it. And you gotta turn that around here. It's really hard to turn it. I like to do stuff like this. It's got something to do with guitar. I love it. There you go. There's that guitar. It's officially soldered the output jack. Now, let me turn y'all this way. See that sponge right there? I gotta clean the soldering iron here. Now we gotta handle a few important things here, so let me put y'all on pause real quick so I can get my Kelly down from the wall. Okay, so we're back once again, and now we're with a different guitar. This is my Ibanez Geo. This is the back end of it. It's a very beautiful guitar. It's green on it. I got fresh strings on it. You should check out the brand of strings called Lacado. I never thought that, like, the cheapest set of strings I could find on Amazon sound better than Ernie balls. I don't know how that's possible. But they do, 100%. So we're going to undo all these plates back here. We got 3 more wires to solder. One is in the Geo, this one right here that we're working on now. And we got to put a ground wire on it so the guitar doesn't hum. Because all my guitars hum. Because why? The ground water has been yanked off over years of use. So, best way to fix it is to resolder the ground wire to the tremolo claw, which I believe is where it goes. Gotta get all the solder off the table here. There you go. I thought that it would melt the table, but nope. Pretty stiff plastic. It's not that easy to melt the table. Alright, so there's the back cavity cover plate. It's got shielding on it. I don't know if you can see here, but let me turn you around. See that little blemish right there in the claw? That's where the wire went. See that little hole right there? That's where it comes out of. It's that little hole. So I gotta open up the rear cavity once again and fish out the ground wire and try to get it. So hold on a second, I'll put you on pause. Okay, so we got this cover off here. And here is take a look at the inside here. So that's all the wiring in this guitar. You notice it has dime-sized pots, so unfortunately I have to always put the special spray that you have in it. But let's find the ground wire here. So yep, here's the ground wire. So it was originally soldered a while ago. This right here. Let's fix it. So here we go. Got our solder iron here. Set to 660 degrees. Dude, that's hot. If you were to touch that, you'd be crying mama. If you were to touch that. So let's get this wire. All the solder that's on it. Alright, so now we have the solder off of it, so let me put the solder iron back in its cubby and show you. So we got the solder, extra solder, off. We're going to feed it through here and connect the wire right there in that area. So you got to find the hole, little tiny hole for it, which is over here somewhere. Yep, there it is. Right there. Feed the wire through. There it is. So now we have the wire coming through that little hole and out right here. Now, what we're gonna do is, let me get this here. It's like I almost know how to do it now. So let me bring this over here, so that way you can see me solder it. So first steps first is you got to put a good amount of solder right there in that area. So just like a TIG on a welder, you got to put a glob of solder there. A good amount. It takes a good amount. And you let that kind of dry. Put your solder wire away over here. And then you liquefy the solder again. And you're supposed to put the wire on it. Might need a little bit less wire sticking out here. That's when these tweezers come in handy. Can smell burning plastic. This is not easy, folks. You know, I think we need to scrub this up right here real good. Let's pull this wire here out. The things you got to do to fix what people have done before, especially yourself. Take your wet sponge here and you wipe it. You gotta have a good connection here. And if you got some sandpaper like I do, it always helps. Take your sandpaper here. maybe something that's a little bit more abrasive. Like this one. It's pretty hard to get it in there. You know what might have to happen? Might have to take the tremolo claw off. No biggie. Just take it off. That's all I gotta do. It's that simple. I got its strings on it, so since I got strings on it, the tremolo is gonna be going crazy. So you watch this little, the block is gonna go all the way to the back. If you wanted to know why I have such a long screwdriver, you got to have a super long one for this type of stuff. Alright, so once you got that off, take your springs off. You take this take the claw here and you scrub that good, man. You heat it up a little bit with the solder iron. Because that's old solder. You can give it a good sanding again. It's a good thing I bought sandpaper, because I've been using it to death. Been needing it. Might need something a little bit more aggressive, like skateboard sandpaper, which, if you wanted to know what grit that is, that's usually 120, which is this stuff. Now it should really get it real good. Gotta fold it up some more here. You gotta have a clean connection point. That's why I'm doing this. See how clean that is? Shiny. And that's what it took to clean it up. And it's and you want to have it kind of rough, like it is. See all those scratches on it. You want to see how you want to have that rough. That's got to be rough, because why? The solder has to be able to stick to it. So now we got that all roughed up, real shiny. Take our tremolo claw screws and put it back on, man. That's all you gotta do. See, I'm trying to make this look simple here. That goes in. That goes in. I found out over the years that this screwdriver was once upon a time ago a magnetic tip. Magnetic tip screwdriver. They're always awesome. So that goes there. That goes there. that goes there. And you tighten it up. Give it some turns here. All the way until the bridge is level with the bottom here. Only this kind of stuff happens at Hard Rock Nation. So keep that in mind. If you like seeing this kind of stuff, you should subscribe. Alright, now that we got that, we'll go ahead and put our sponge back in the solder station. And now, we can solder it correctly. So you take your solder here. You can always heat your area up real good. And you use a ton of solder. It really doesn't like to stick to this very much. Even with it kind of ready. Gotta take your wire here. I see why it broke off. It's very fragile. Let's try to do it in a different area. I know what to do. I'll put y'all on pause real quick. Alright guys, we're back. We have a drill. Gotta unplug it from the battery here. And look at what we're gonna do. We're gonna drill this thing and give it a hole here. It doesn't like to stay in the same spot. Okay. Now we have a mounting hole. Super important. So let's put that back in the fan so we can have some air circulation here. So now that we got a hole, let me now that we got a hole there, see that hole right there in that area? Super important. Because why? You put this wire into that hole. Of course, with the solder on it, melts it off. Put that directly in the hole. Alright, now you take your TIG here. And you literally weld that wire in there. just so we don't have no problems here. Take our wire. Doing this with my fingers because why? It's how professionals do it. There you go. Put our solder over here. Kind of forced to use the tip because it really doesn't do so well on the tip. Doesn't really melt like it does on the sides. Because my guitars have been making lots of noise when I'm not playing it, and I don't have noise suppressor on as a guitar effect. It screams like crazy. Okay. So that's Ibanez Geo done. Okay, so we're back once again, and we got the Kelly out, my favorite guitar. This is the first part of the gold hardware on this beast. It's got Geiger locking tuners. See how they're locking down there. Tried to go everything Geiger and Goto on this guitar because I wanted to not spend too much money, but also spend a decent amount of money. These are the original pickups. They're all loose in there. Those are the ones that are whole reason why this guitar is getting fresh upgrade. So on the back end of this guitar here is the problem. It's nothing to do with the front. It's the problem. This behind this cavity plate here, which I will unscrew that for you. Here, let me put you on pause. Alright, so we're back here. This is the fresh electronics I just put in it. It's turning it into passive here. But, see this wire? This wire is going to have to be connected here. That was the original wire. And that needs to be adjusted here. So they give you plenty of wire here. Now on the output jack, it was soldered so perfectly, man, this output jack. It really was. But unfortunately, I have to put it through that. So we got to undo that back cover plate here. This guitar is going to have a black and gold theme about it. It'll pop very hard. I mean, like as you can see, the bushings for the neck. Look at how hard it pops against that crimson swirl. Oh my goodness! Best looking guitar out of all of my collection, and I'll tell you, that's a good wall. That's a good wall. But this one, it sticks out, man. Do some comments down below and tell me what you think about that Jackson Rhodes V, not the King V back there, but the Rhodes one. Tell me what you think about turning that guitar into gold hardware. Bringing you all along my guitar swapping journey. Everything's getting Invader pickups. So, give me some ideas down in the comments. So, that's the hole. Barely see it through there, but it's in there. We need to cut these wires off of this output jack, unsolder them, which I will do real quick. So put y'all right here. Unsolder the output jack from its connections. Alright, got the output jack unsoldered. Now what you're going to do is these wires right here. Will go through this hole right here. Now see, this is the correct amount of wire. See how long that is? that is what's supposed to be. The Schecter has been fixed on the output jack so much because why? It was my first guitar, actual electric guitar. My acoustic was in that area over there, which was my first guitar. But the Schecter has been through it, man. So now, unfortunately, the output jack is not going to look as great as, my what was there originally. So, unfortunately, that's just the way that goes. So, the negative goes on that. That goes on that. Put you on pause real quick. Alright, so we're going to solder the jack now. I got the wire through here on the ground. So, first one here. Since this is in so much better shape than my Schecter, we can actually bend it and put the correct connection on it. Alright, so we're going to use this here to bend. Use this to bend this. Okay. That's that. And then this wire right here. Hopefully I'm doing this correctly, because of course I didn't take a picture of which wire was in which area, so if I have to undo it, oh well. It's all part of learning. Okay. Man, when that thing touches it and you got your fingers on the output jack, you can feel the heat. It's that hot. So, the output jack is now in the correct area. I'm so excited for this guitar, man. I think I'll be getting the pickups today, I think. We'll go outside and see what happens. So now, let's unsolder this right here. Got it. See, you're multi-tool in it here, man. When you're trying to undo the solder on a area like this, you're doubling up. It's becoming quite difficult here. Alright, we got the wire removed. Now, we're going to take our solder wire once again here. We're going to glob it in there. So then you put this over here, and you take your wire right here, you take your solder wire here, just coat it in there. The solder dries pretty darn quickly. Alright, so now what you do is you pull the ground wire out of that predicament so you're not melting the insulation. Then you clean up your solder joint. Now that guitar will be totally silent. The only time it'll make noise is when you make it make noise. Man, I'm so excited. Pumped. I'm going to do the King V next, and we'll be right back. Alright, so we're back. Once again, no guitar to solder. This is the Jackson King V. It's got a Floyd Rose on it. And we're going to solder this back area. We'll be back shortly. Okay, now we're back. So let's put our those pliers in there. Let's start undoing this. We're going to take all these screws off of this rear cover plate. And once we do that, we'll take all the screws off of the control cavity plate. That one went in some meat, shined up the threads on that. And we use a smaller screwdriver for that one. we will save those screws for something else because we want this guitar to have brand new screws. So, putting brand new screws on it. On this back cover plate. Now on this guitar, you got a ton of room to work. Ton. And just like I thought, there's the wire that we need to solder. So once again, like we did last time, this wire that we have, the solder, we'll just go ahead and melt some of the insulation on it. And when you melt the insulation like that, you make the perfect heat shrink. Alright. Now this right here, we'll put a little bit of solder on the end. I'm going to roll up this solder wire a little bit. Okay. Going to put a little bit. A little piece of solder was still kind of hot. First inkle of being burned. Just a baby tap on that. Let's go ahead and thread this wire through this hole. If you touch the plastic on it, you have to clean the tip off. Super crucial that you do that. Since we kind of screwed that up, we need to burn the plastic the rest of the way through. Now that we have these pliers here, These pliers are certainly not the best. They're actually very dull. Got that extra piece of wire off that we didn't need because we got plenty. Now let's see if the wire strippers will work. Man. So you wrap the wire around itself. I always like to double the wire back on itself. Let me kind of show you what I got. See how it's kind of like doubled back on itself like that? We're getting there, man. This is becoming quite the video. It's taken me 1 hour and 10 minutes to do this. Excuse me. Sorry about that, guys. Use that tab. There it goes. It's in there. Bend y'all back down just let me bang that a little bit. Okay. So you gotta first get this sorted. Alright, now we got a little bit of solder there. I'm going to take our wire here, try to coat it in solder. Now, when that solder iron touches that wire, it brings heat throughout the whole thing. Tighten this up. Okay, got that on there. Gonna take our, I'm gonna bend this wire up pretty good. We're gonna take our solder. Maybe wondering, why am I doing this to the wire? Because it gives the wire a way to be attached more solidly. And according to YouTube, that's the correct way to do it. Alright, now we take this wire that we soldered and we wet this solder joint that we put on here. We get the wire in there and then we wet it. You gotta do a good job. See, and once you weld it on there, this is basically welding for electronics. Gotta be darn careful where you put your hand at on the iron itself. I figured I wanted to go live, but I figured I'd post to the regular video. Need a little bit more solder. We're running out of solder here. Okay. And that is all three, all actually 5 guitars soldered. Thanks for watching. If you managed to stay into the end of the video, man, I appreciate you. But until then, talk to y'all later. My first ever solder job. Leave some comments down below. Tell me about what you thought about my first soldering job, how good I did, and tell me about it in the comments. But till then, see y'all later. This was basically live without being live.